our top story this hour. U.S. President Donald Trump heads to Davos, Switzerland tomorrow. Most of the world's power brokers are already there. Trump's plans for Greenland are the talk of the summit and the focus of an extraordinary speech today from Canada's Prime Minister. We'll dig into that in a moment. But first, Trump wrapped up a nearly 2-hour-long briefing at the White House last hour, doubling down on his demands to own Greenland. He said his team has a lot of meetings scheduled about the Arctic territory, and he thinks things are going to work out pretty well.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
President, you said you're confident something's going to get worked out in Greenland, but Greenlanders have made it clear they don't want to be part of the U.S.
Well,
what gives the U.S. the right to take away that
spoken.
self-determination?
When I speak to them, I'm sure they'll be thrilled.
For more on this story, let's turn to journalist Tony Waterman. She joins us live from Washington. So, Tony, Trump just spoke from the White House for nearly 2 hours. He didn't speak about Greenland until he was questioned by reporters. What were your takeaways on that?
Yeah, Andrew, it was quite remarkable that this press conference went on, as you mentioned there, for 2 hours. And it wasn't until we got to the Q&A, the questions portion of this, when somebody from the media actually asked him about Greenland. Besides this topic really sucking up all of the headlines, both nationally and internationally, for days now. He made that very quick response, "You'll find out," when he was asked how far he would go to acquire Greenland, which he really insists is part of this national security strategy for the United States. But he also made it seem as if he could perhaps strike a deal, saying that Greenlanders would be thrilled to be part of the United States, but really doubling down on these assertions that the United States is going to acquire Greenland, even going so far as to threaten these tariffs against 8 European countries, including NATO allies, this 10% duty that would kick in starting next month against countries that are seen as standing in the way of his ambitions of taking over this icy island. But this could all be disrupted by the Supreme Court. They are right now on the verge of issuing an opinion on the legality of these tariffs. We, in fact, thought it could come as soon as today. And a reporter actually asked him about what he would do if the Supreme Court were to strike down these tariffs.
What happens to the tariff threat to Greenland if the Supreme Court comes out and rules against you on the tariffs? And
well, I'll have to use something else. I mean,
are
look,
you willing to use force?
you know, take a look at the word license, take a look at other things. I mean, we have other alternatives. But what we're doing now is the best, the strongest, the fastest, the easiest, the least complicated.
So he's really dodging the question there of whether the United States, whether he as the president would use force to take over Greenland. This is something that he has not ruled out and is generating a lot of concern, not just among Greenlanders, but our European allies as well. He also dodged a question about whether the potential breakup of NATO would be worth it for the United States to acquire Greenland. And he also had this very interesting take on Panama. This is also a place where the United States, the Panama Canal, the United States that President Trump has said he wants to take back. And he was asked about this, if he still has his eyes on the Panama Canal.
Earlier on last year, you had indicated that you wanted to take back the Panama Canal. I know we've heard a lot about Greenland. Is that still on the table?
I don't want to tell you that. Sort of. I must say, sort of. That's sort of. Okay, one more. Yes.
So it seems as if this is still on the table for the president, and there's been a lot of discussion, including on your airways today, about whether or not President Trump would be satiated if he were to get Greenland. But just last night, he put up this doctored or altered photo on his social media account showing European leaders sitting with him in the Oval Office. And in the background, there is this map of the United States, and it is including Venezuela, Canada, and Greenland, perhaps Panama as well. He seems very emboldened after he and the military deposed of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro.
Tony, we know that Trump is heading to Davos soon. What can we expect there? He said there's going to be lots of meetings on Greenland.
Yeah, you're right. He said that he has a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland for when he is in Davos. He said that I think things are going to work out pretty well, actually. Of course, we know that is not the feeling among Americans, European allies, particularly those 8 countries that he's threatening to tariff. And President Emmanuel Macron and the Prime Minister Keir Starmer from the UK, they are among those that have been pushing back quite strongly against President Trump. And the president actually posted a text message exchange that he had with the French leader, in which you can see Macron saying, "I don't understand what you're doing on Greenland." The president was asked about his relationship with Macron, with Starmer, and President Trump said that, they can get rough when I'm not around, but this is certainly something that is going to be top of mind and really threatens to overshadow every single discussion that is taking place at the World Economic Forum. The president, though, also said that he is going to be speaking a lot about what he sees as his tremendous success in his first year back in office. And he said that a lot of these people that are going to be at Davos, including America's European allies, they could use the advice, especially when it comes to immigration and energy. But of course, ahead of his arrival and his speech that he's going to be giving on Wednesday, some of the other members of his cabinet, including the Treasury Secretary, have been speaking and really have been trying to brush away these concerns about what's going to happen. Scott Bessent saying that the president has a plan here and there should not be this hysterics, in his words, over a potential trade war or a potential war if the president decides to use force to go into Greenland.
Tony, thank you. Journalist Tony Waterman live in Washington.